What's up guys, Sub-Zero here. Today we are VOD reviewing Rank 1 China, and this player is actually someone really special. So they go by Coral on the Chinese server, Korol, and this might sound familiar to anyone who was really into the League of Legends scene, because there's a League of Legends player back in the day on the Chinese server named Koro1, played for EDG, also played for RNG as well as a top laner, I believe. And he's since retired from League of Legends and is now a full-time, I believe, TFT streamer. And I mean, yeah, to be 1800 LP on the Chinese server, I have to imagine this guy's full-time. But yeah, really cool to see, you know, like the League to TFT player pipeline. He's also going to play a really cool comp this game. I just took a quick look at the comp, and it's pretty interesting. So I'm hyped to watch this game and hyped to see how he plays, which is, you know, like a player like Coral, who, you know, was at the best level in one game. It's always cool to see them come to a game like TFT, see if they can get that same level of dominance, and, you know, he absolutely seems to have it so far. There's also a player that I've never VOD reviewed before, so it'll be cool to see how he approaches the game, the kind of decisions that he's making. Has a really solid Invoker's opener here, and he decided to take Golden Ticket in this spot, so he's angling for some kind of reroll comp. Could potentially get the Galio in. You'd have to really like level for it. It's actually pretty difficult to fit because you want to play this backline. You just need a little bit more frontline on this board ideally. If you want to play for Invokers, surely you'd slam like Static Shiv here. That's a really solid item like I talked about in the last video in Invoker type comps. But he's not going to opt to slam the Static Shiv. He's going to hold all of these components and just basically sack this fight. You also notice he is playing Poro Legend, same as basically everyone in North America. There was someone in the person that we just fought had Twisted Fate, the Twisted Fate augment, Pandora's Venture, Pandora's items, and it looks like they did actually take Twisted Fate Legend. Also, did I see a Caitlyn? I think this player is playing Caitlyn Legend, which is pretty cool to see. I don't know, Joe Bookmark is no longer on Caitlyn this patch. I have hesitated and I'm off Caitlyn this patch, but I know she's at least decent. I watched Dish Soap's like tier list video on Caitlyn, or on, you know, everything in the patch, and he said that Caitlyn is like fine, not amazing, but not terrible. Also, as far as our galaxy, it's a Bilgewater galaxy. I don't know, for some reason I'm thinking it's Rat Town. I think that would make a lot of sense with the Golden Ticket. Rat Town, you want to play a reroll comp usually, and Golden Ticket makes sense with that, but we'll see what happens. If, you know, we get an item, then it's the item one. If it's definitely not the one where you get free rerolls at the start of rounds, because we would have had those at 2-1. So yeah, it's either Rat Town or the one where the shopkeeper comes. I don't think there's another one, unless there's like a fourth Bilgewater Galaxy that I'm forgetting. Itemize off Carousel, so look, okay, maybe I'll spoil what I know that he's going for here. I mean, it's in the thumbnail, yeah, he definitely wanted to grab a tier there and just opt to go for blue buff. Sadly, he can't get that, so he's gonna have to go for Rod here, which I think is fine. He wants blue buff here. I don't know if it's from this point immediately. It does certainly seem like he is, at this point, already angling multicaster reroll, just saying, I'm straight up gonna play multicaster reroll this game. He's got the Galio too, which I'm actually interested to see. I think a lot of people have talked about this multicaster reroll board playing around the Demacia frontline. You play like Galio plus Sona, of course, is a multicaster, and then you just have to fit in one extra Demacia unit, which is probably Jarvan late game. I don't know if there's anything really good to play early. He's holding onto the Poppy right now, and that can actually be like a really solid frontline. If you don't play around the Galio, then you're forced to play around something like a Swain, which he's just not that great of a frontliner. We are also on a 3 streak here, potentially 4 streak if we can win this fight, because we have the Galio too, we have all these upgrades, so that feels really good. I guess we're also about to see if we're in Rat Town or not. And yeah, he keeps hovering this Death Cap Slam. Really, as I've talked about before, just smart, clean play from Coral here. You don't slam the Death Cap unless you need to make it here, because you want to keep your options open. These two rods could very easily be like a JG Ionic Spark, so he doesn't slam there. Also, really good discipline to not slam there, because he is also level 4. The other board's level 4 as well. Like, if he misjudged that fight, potentially, like, you could see him over slamming in that spot there. I think he sold the Sona there, right? But then ended up picking up another one in shop, because he's not that interested in Sona 3. Also, my bot is stuttering a bit. All right, I'll bring it down to 720p. Usually I want to keep it as high quality as possible, but I know a lot of these Chinese VOD websites, they are a little bit temperamental when you're, you know, an American watching their VODs super far away. So, all right, I'll take down the quality a little bit. Hope you guys don't absolutely hate it. I know some people are like, oh, can you have the quality? Though, to be fair, that's on like my own VODs, where I actually just 100% troll. It's also wood Ixtal, which is pretty cool. So he's using the wood Ixtal to scale up this Galio. We're not going to play Ixtal later, but for now we can use the wood to scale up Galio, and then eventually, probably level 6, probably next round, we're going to pivot into the multicaster board, and then, you know, we don't have to worry. Also, we didn't get a lucky shop, I believe, unless like the stutter got rid of it. So that means we are definitely in, it's Finn's market, right? The one where you get a random item, can be radiant item, can be whatever item. So that is definitely of note as well. Pokemon-wise here, I feel like Tons of Stats is fine in this comp. I think we're good. I think we're good on that. Okay, yeah. Oh, he goes for the, wow, he goes for shopping. Shoplifting is what it's called here. That's actually kind of wild, because we're basically playing double econ augment this game. The reason that you would play shoplifting in a spot like this is if you're so confident in the cap of this comp that you say, I don't actually need combat augments. If I hit the entire comp, then, you know, I don't have to worry, because we are playing down 2 combat augments now, but we are going to have an insane amount of econ. You're basically guaranteed that you're going to hit, you know, your 3 stars on your multicasters, your TF3, your Galio 3. But the question is, you know, like, are we going to go for Velcluster? I mean, I feel like at this, with shoplifting, you kind of have to go for everything 3-star. With Velcluz here, I would imagine that we have to, you know, start pivoting our board into the multicaster board, because like it feels bad to not play around this Galio or around this Velcluz. I assume that we would actually cut the invokers here, get like Sona in, get the Poppy in, and just play the Radiant item board with the Demacia. I wonder if perhaps he's just, wow, he does end up winning this fight. Like, it seems like he's playing super greedy. And once again, sorry for the video lag. I don't know. Yeah, it's just this website is very temperamental. But yeah, I wonder if he's just playing super greedy to get as much, I mean, he is, right? To get as much HP on the Galio as possible. So he does have the open tier, right? Yeah, blue buff goes crazy here. Looks like he is also almost like tunnel visioning on playing for the TF version of the comp, because like he already has this Velcluz. You could maybe play for like a Velcluz version of the comp, but he's rolling on level 5, which means, you know, he really wants to find as many. Oh, he did go 6 just this round, it looks like, and actually started rolling. Okay, so he is going to go 6, play for the TF here, and now we've pivoted into the board. Okay, so yeah, I believe this is the board when you want to play around multicasters. You just play 4 multicasters plus 2 Demacia units, which is going to be Galio plus like Poppy, and then eventually the Poppy will turn into, oh my god. All right, I paused it for a sec. Hopefully this is going to make it a little bit better to watch. Maybe, yeah, I'll just pause every time the video starts stuttering, and hopefully that'll allow it to buffer a little bit, and we won't have to deal with terrible lag. Also, I need to speed it up again. Also do 1.5 times speed, because maybe we're just going too fast for it. I assume that Chalice would go insane on this board. Yeah, I would have to think that Chalice is amazing in this board, because, you know, you're buffing all of these carries. It's sort of like an old, like one of the old Chalice comps where you just have a ton of backline carries that you want to play for. So yeah, Chalice looks amazing here. He's just going to slam it on the Talia, because Talia is probably the least likely unit for us to itemize, and we know we're going to get another item, at least full item this game, though not, it might be a Radiant item, might be another support item, but there's a decent chance that we're going to itemize fully this TF and this Velcluz here. So far, the board's not looking insanely strong. All right, we're back. But yeah, like the board is not super strong, it looks like right now. I have to imagine we're going to spike really hard once we actually hit all of our 3 stars. That would be the hope, because right now the board looks like decent, but we're still bleeding out versus, I would say, boards that I think, you know, maybe we could beat. Oh, this is really cute to get the Ixtal in during minions to get an extra 40 HP. It actually like kind of clogs your bench up a little bit. It's actually kind of difficult to make this happen, but he is going to do that here. Yeah, have to sell these units and make the bench space. Yeah, this kind of pivot is very ambitious. You know, moving the units onto your board just for this round, especially when you have a big roll down here. But it looks like he's able to, yeah, the APM is good. It looks like he's able to roll pretty deep here, almost able to potentially hit the TF. Wow, really close, just barely out of time. But I think very, I would say, optimistic to think that you can even, you know, do that, get the 40 extra HP. But and he almost makes it work. Yeah, he's 2 TFs off, 1 Galio off. I would say at the end of the day, you'd probably prefer to just have the extra like 5 seconds to roll there, because if you hit everything here, you save a lot of HP. But hey, maybe the 40 HP is worth it once we hit the entire board. I mean, 53 HP is still relatively healthy. Item-wise here, I mean, you could take the multicaster +1, but all it does is allow you to cut a multicaster. Like, I don't think this augment is actually that good in this spot. What are we taking here, though? Bulk doesn't actually seem bad. Yeah, I like that a good bit. We're going to have items on most of our units. He does opt to not look for the Sona 3 here, is going to prioritize the Vel'Koz here. I assume, yeah, you continue to roll until Galio. Once you hit Galio, then you are chilling. You've hit also the lower cost units that you actually care about in this spot. So now you can push 7, get in. It's going to be Swain and then Jarvan. I would imagine Swain and then Jarvan over Poppy, and that's just going to be the final board. Itemize here, he's going to itemize the Sunfire Cape and then Static Shiv I like a lot, yeah, to get some shred. So yeah, he goes for Sunfire Cape over Warmogs. I kind of hate this. I feel like, because if you make Warmogs, then you leave Warmog's Bramble open, which maybe it's a lobby where Bramble isn't very valuable, but it tends to be in this meta that Bramble is really, really valuable because you are looking for, you're going to fight all of these Vanquisher players who you really want that ability to negate crit from. These items are actually pretty bad as well. You could go like RFC on your Vel'Koz. He is going to go for the Titans here. Okay, Titans is fine. It's just, it's a little bit scary because now your Galio doesn't really have any tank items. I played in a similar situation actually, where I had a Galio 2 with this Radiant Warmogs, or the Radiant Redemption. And I ended up putting, I don't know if it was exactly the setup. I think it was Sunfire. It might have even been Sunfire Titans on him. And I just felt like he wasn't tanky enough. To be fair, it was a Galio 2, and he didn't have the Cybernetics Bulk. Perhaps the idea is that with Cyber Bulk, Galio is going to be tanky enough to actually make use of this Titans. I think that actually makes a decent amount of sense. Also, the Radiant Redemption with the Cybernetics Bulk was really, really good. I assume Guardbreaker is pretty solid from the spot with the JG slammed already with the belt open. I would think that's what we'd go for here. He's just going to go for Bow here. Interesting. Is he going to actually make a Nashers? Just Nashers on TF for like maximum uptime on the casts? Maybe. Other option would be to just like put that on someone else. I mean, you don't need the Galio, so he's not taking it for Galio's sake. Yeah, he is going to push level here, is going to get the Swain in, and he's, yeah, okay, he's not going to make Nashers. Looks like he's looking for like a GS last item. I have to imagine that's what this would be. I haven't actually looked too closely at like TF3 Gigabis, but I would think that, you know, it's definitely blue buff plus JG plus 1. Maybe it's GS. I think GS makes a good amount of sense. Perhaps Guardbreaker isn't that good because, I mean, I would think Guardbreaker would be pretty decent because he's actually like hitting a decent number of targets with his ult. He also hits the target and then his thing explodes, which means, you know, like if he hits a target with a shield, it's going to proc on the first part of the ability and then explode on the second part. You know what? I'm down. I'm just going to look up Explorer while we're in this game. Also, it looks like bringing the speed down to 1.5 helped out a lot. So I guess I'll do that for my future Chinese VOD reviews. But yeah, items, Delta, and then we sort by craftable items. Blue buff. Oh yeah, the Setsui Morello is actually really, really good here. Blue buff Morello Gunblade. Night Harvester always shows up in these kind of builds, and I don't really understand why. Maybe the item's just broken, I don't know. And then Guardbreaker. Yeah, Guardbreaker is definitely up there. And GS is actually a little bit lower, which is... I have no clue why GS would be lower. I guess maybe because he ends up... When he triple casts... I mean, no, all of those casts go to frontline, so I feel like GS would be pretty solid here. But I don't know. We'll see what he ends up. I mean, maybe there is something else entirely that he's going to make. I don't know what that would be. RFC TF. And there's some secret kind of TF tech. I'm not sure. But in any case, he's hit basically the entire board. Still very far off Sona, but he's hit Vel'Koz. He's hit the TF. He's hit the Galio. He's got a couple of Talias left. But I would think at this point, you're just going to start pushing levels. I don't think Talia 3 is that important. You want to push levels at this point for what? You can get... I mean, you can get a Zirin. It's actually Shurima plus the Strategist, which is kind of funny. What else would you want to play? I mean, you could just play a random Invoker, like a Shen, just for extra frontline. It also is Bastion for now, but later it's not going to be Bastion because we're going to cut the Poppy. I'm curious to see how he finishes the build out. Item-wise here, also talking about finishing the build out. Yeah, I like Gunblade a ton. I think this is perfect here. He is actually going to roll here and try to dig. He's picking up Tarex. I don't know how we would pivot to like a 4 Sork version of the board. I think he's just trying to greed for like Talia and Sona 3. Maybe he thinks this could be one of those comps where going level 8 is so low prio that, yeah, you just want to look for all of your 3 stars on 7 here. You don't actually have to worry about like going 8 in this comp because, like, yeah, like I'm talking about, like, what do you actually add on 8? Strategist really does very little. Shurima also does very little. I guess Ascending, now that we have a Talia 3, Ascending her is okay, but she has no items. So yeah, maybe this is just a comp where you roll for everything on 7 and the value of pushing 8 is very low. At worst case, you could get like a 5 cost onto the board, but yeah, it's interesting to see how he plays it. And I mean, look at how stable the board is. Like I was saying, this is down to combat augments, right? He's hit his entire board, and now he's just kind of stomping everybody. Well, it'll be interesting to see. Yeah, there's that person with like a Taric Invoker board. There's like the Cho Baitum board. I feel like actually versus the Cho board, we would do pretty well. The GS is really nice versus the Cho. That could be another reason why he prio GS so highly, is that he wants to be able to actually get through this Cho. Also, note that he is positioning the TF not all the way in the corner. He's positioning it next to the Sona, partially because we're playing around this Chalice, so like we need to keep our units sort of like clumped in backline anyway, but also just to greed for the Sona attack speed. I know there are a lot of differing opinions about if you should greed for Sona attack speed or not. Almost a close fight here, but we do end up losing to the Taric Soraka player here. It just seems like it's really hard to get through their board. I think also, maybe thinking in sort of like the context, like I was just talking about, the Sunfire makes a bit more sense, right? We're playing to potentially get through that board as well. So maybe that's the other reason that he went for Sunfire, is that he knew that he was going to have to get through this Taric Soraka, which actually makes a good amount of sense. One off Sona here and one off Jarvan, so yeah, he's just going to roll to 0, and yeah, like I said, I think this is actually a board that doesn't really benefit that much from going 8. The +1 strategist is going to do very, very little, the Stream is going to do very, very little, and so you'd much prefer to just hit something like a Sona 3, get the extra damage from Sona with 4 multicaster, and then eventually we can also itemize her, especially because we have this Chalice, right? All of this extra AP, and the little bit of starting mana that goes to these units is going to feel really, really good once we hit Sona 3 as well. Hopefully we can just sort of like one-shot a lot of units, especially because Sona can snipe backline, so she can do a little bit of chunk damage to backline. Though, I mean, now that I think about it, like, what other units are hitting backline, right? It's kind of just Sona. I assume you'd go JG here for the Sona. You don't really have any other frontline items to, like, you don't have any other frontline units to itemize. You can itemize the Jarvan, I guess. He could have taken Jarvan too if he really wanted to. It was for the Guard Breaker. He does have a Remover here, so it's probably Remover the Static Shiv and then just Guard Breaker the Vel'Koz. The only downside is that you don't get to get the Guard Breaker plus Static Shiv synergy, but I can't imagine. The other option would be like move Gunblade somewhere, but that'd be weird. Okay, so he does that and then moves Static Shiv over to Sona. I like this. This is our best possible, I mean, actually probably not the best possible build on Vel'Koz. You'd prefer some kind of mana item like a blue buff on him, but this is still a really, really solid build. And also you get the extra mana from Chalice, which allows you to get that early cast off. And yeah, look at this board. Oh my god. It absolutely, absolutely just stomped that player that we just fought there. And yeah, it's an easy top 4 from this spot. So yeah, I think it's definitely a board that's a little bit under the radar on NA. I know a few people are playing it. I know I saw Frodan, who is a very strong player on North America, just made day 3 of Noxus Cup. Shout out to him. He is an absolute beast, a very respectable TFT player, absolute just god of the game. But, you know, I saw Frodan playing this, and I think he was talking about, like, okay, don't leak the tech. Don't let anyone else know about this comp. And, I mean, I could sort of see why. But I've seen it sort of, like, mixed success. A few people have played it. A few people have not played it, or played it to middling results. It is going to be a full reroll. Top 2 here, probably. It's going to be us, and then that Nico plus Taric player, or... They do have Nico on their board, right? I know they have Soraka 3, Taric 3. Do they have Nico 3 as well? Because that fight that we lost to them... Okay, yeah, there's a giant Nico there. Yeah, that is actually a huge Nico. She's definitely on the board. Itemize here, you're just looking for Sona or Talia item. Probably Sona higher priority. I just don't think this Talia unit does very much. He's also looking at potentially leveling, getting Shen in later. I think Adaptive is fine. You probably don't want anything like an Archangel. His GS is fine as well, but the GS is very solid into that Nico. She's definitely in GS range. Might be better than the Adapticone. I assume that Adaptive would be better here. He's going to go for the Archangels. Wow. So my thought is that I wouldn't think Archangels is great in this comp because, ooh, he takes the Radiant item off the Galio. Is that intentional? It looks like maybe it is. I don't know. I feel like we have so little frontline. But yeah, I feel like this comp is so bursty that Archangels wouldn't actually do that well in the comp. Like, yeah, the fight is basically decided in the first, like, 5 seconds. So I'm actually surprised he goes for the Archangels here. Because, yeah, it's not like we're a stall comp by any means. We have, like, 0 frontline, and the entire idea behind the comp is to completely burst their frontline. But, I don't know. Interesting idea here. So, yeah, he's actually going to level for the Shen here. get the Jarvan 2, which feels really, really good. And he is just going to keep the Radiant item on Sona. He thinks, okay, our board is... Okay, no, okay, he's going to swap it. I'm like, yeah, I don't know. I feel like you actually really need the Radiant Redemption here, especially with all these other frontliners to, like, use it on. Like, he's Radiant Redemptioning everyone here. Yeah, I have to imagine this is better. All right, this is the matchup that we lost last time. Our board has gotten a bit stronger since then. It could also be maybe the idea is that you want Radiant Archangels in, or not Radiant Archangels, but just Archangels in this matchup specifically to potentially outscale them. That could be an idea, and wow. I mean, I don't know if it was an Archangel's diff, but we do end up finally winning that fight. Once we have everything 3-starred, once you have a little bit stronger of our front line, we can actually win that fight, and it looks like it's just a win out with 30 HP left. I mean, maybe I shouldn't jinx it. There's one more fight to be had. We also have this Heimerdinger in shop, though. Let's see. It would probably be Reparo Heimer, right? You don't actually need Sunfire. You don't actually need Shred. So maybe it'd just be Reparo frontline Heimer so that you have a little bit more frontline as opposed to, you know, like this random Shen who's just like Invoker. I mean, Invoker's not bad. Allows all these multicasters to cast more. Oh my god, Cassandra just kicked our Vel'Koz. It looks like it's... actually, it's not fine. It's... Ooh, is it fine? More Sona cast, but the Nasus is so good in these 1v1 scenarios, and Sona is really bad in them because she's, you know, she's an AoE caster. She wants to do a lot of damage to the entire board. Another item here goes crazy, though. Blue buff for that Vel'Koz, I think, would be insane. Outside of that, you could take, like, a Morello, I guess, for your Jarvan, even though you have Sunfire. It would allow him to spread it to backline. But, yeah, blue buff here looks really, really good. I imagine it's going on Vel'Koz. The other option would be just slam it on Sona. He does actually find the Heimer here. The problem is that you can't actually... Oh my god, he does actually get a Reparo immediately. Wow, really, really nice. And so now he can play for super, super max cap. Looks like he is planning on blue buffing this Sona, because if he doesn't remove her now, he's not going to be able to. I would imagine it's... I guess the problem with... Oh, he's going to blue buff Talia. Weird. Yeah, I'm not really sure about the... I guess for more CC. Maybe he thinks this board actually needs more CC and more stall for like the Sona and the Vel'Koz. Okay, I mean, it did really good work in this fight, and he won. Some really, really interesting decisions from this player. Some really out-of-the-box stuff that I never would have done. And a really, really cool comp from a really, really cool player. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please like, comment, subscribe, check out my Twitch, and all my other links down below. Thank you, thank you.